Hello, this is Stephanie Hudson. Welcome to part 4 of my first ever romantic sleep story. This story will guide you to a night of calm and restful sleep, where you can relax in the knowledge you are safe and supported as you finally let go of all that is pinning you down. The last time we met, Rebecca Tregoran had begun to realize just how complicated her life had become when working for Jake Fairmore, the man she did her best to avoid since coming across him one cold and frosty night on the steam train running from her old hometown to a new and prosperous one nestled deep in the Scottish Highlands. To look at, Jake was the kind of man she would usually be drawn to. With strong, broad shoulders, a thick, muscular neck, and warm skin that lit up his bright eyes, he was unlike any other man she had ever known. And he was successful too, which was part of the problem, because now Rebecca was beholden to him, and Jake Fairmore had more than one agenda in his workplace. Not only did he trust the word of Olivia Cartwright, that receptionist who was doing her best to undermine Rebecca at every turn, he also displayed blind loyalty to Scott Lake Industries, a company Rebecca would come to understand was not all it seemed. But before we begin, let's take a moment to focus on where we are now. It is time to relax and fully let go. Take a deep breath in through your nose, then let it out on a long sigh. Feel the tension melt away as you breathe deeply into this experience. Feel your shoulders melt away from your neck and all the pressure in your cheeks seep away. It has been a long day, but now this is your time. A time to forget about everything but my voice. A time to put away everything that might or might not be. Relax once more. Let go, safe in the knowledge I am here to support you as you drift away into a calm and relaxing sleep. And here we are, back once more with Rebecca Tregoran. She is back at Scott Lake Industries after a disappointing day before, and she has decided to address any problems with a smile. She had been wrongly accused by none other than Jake for something she didn't do. But she had decided to put a brave face on it and show the world her genuine smile. It was her best feature, her mother said. A smile that danced in her light grey eyes. For Rebecca Tregoran was nothing if not resilient. She entered the vast lobby, through the glazed double doors, and made her way past reception to the staircase that ran from the top of the building down to the basement, where she had spent every day since she joined, in a dark room with her friend and colleague Sam. She couldn't wait to tell her all about what she had been accused of. She was certain Sam would be more than happy to help her plan her revenge on Olivia for setting her up and turning Jake against her. Sam was always good for a laugh, a jolly soul who gave Rebecca a reason to get up in the morning. Sam was always full of energy and happy to play along with some of the crazy ideas Rebecca came up with. Descending the steps, Rebecca thought about what lay ahead. It was to be a busy day. Scott Lake Industries was to have its annual charity drive, and there was a haul of antique books that needed to be carried up the many flights of stairs and out to the trucks parked in front of the building. Rebecca sighed. She knew it would be hard work, but she was happy to do her best, for she was too proud to ask for the key to the lift, and she was certainly not going to be beaten. She was certainly not going to give Olivia Cartwright the satisfaction. Then, once the books were collected in the trucks, they would be driven to the Cartwright residence, the home of Olivia's father, the CEO of Scott Lake Industries. Well known as the premier home in Fort Scott Lake, Cartwright Manor boasted many maids, gardeners, and various ground staff that worked night and day to keep it as dazzling a spectacle as everybody said it was. With sculpted shrubs lining the long gravel drive that wound its way through the sprawling lawns and intricate pathways, Cartwright Manor sat far back from the road, behind two imposing wrought iron gates. This was where the charity drive would be held, in the marquee on the lawn. Not that Rebecca was invited. No, such an event was only for the most prestigious in the company. She tugged at the handle to the basement door. She had arrived at last and was eager to get on with her job. The busier she was that day, the faster the day would pass, and the sooner the weekend would be with her. But when she stepped over the threshold, Rebecca saw to her dismay there was no Samantha to share her day with. Where on earth is she? Rebecca said to herself. Perhaps she's ill. I hope not. And as if well aware of every one of her movements, All at once, the shrill ring of the basement phone set her on edge. It was Olivia Cartwright, and she was calling to gloat. "We don't have much time today," her cold voice said. "I want all remaining books in the foyer by noon, ready for collection." And before Rebecca could ask what had happened to Sam, the line went dead. It took Rebecca all morning to get the books up to the foyer, and by lunchtime she had had enough. The last batch remained in the basement, but that could wait. Once that was done, she would go home early, regardless of what Olivia Cartwright said. She stepped outside the building into the bright sunshine and made a call. She needed to find out exactly what had happened to Sam, and after just 2 rings, she was delighted when her friend picked up. "Sam, it's so good to hear your voice. Are you okay?" There was an unexpected silence before Sam replied, and Rebecca was surprised when she did at last speak. "I was told to leave last night," said Sam. "It was completely out of the blue. Almost as soon as you left, Olivia gave me my marching orders." "What? How can she? You've done nothing wrong. She's got no right to sack you. Is there no end to what that woman will do?" "What do you mean?" said Sam. "Well, as you know, I was called upstairs, and I was accused of dropping ink all over the prize batch." "But there's no ink in the basement," Sam protested. Rebecca paused to think. Then she said, "I'm not staying here without you. I can't, Sam. As much as I need this job, it's all become too much. That Olivia's got it in for me, and now this. You were the only reason I could stand this job in the first place. I don't want to be here without you, and especially not with Jake and Olivia breathing down my neck." "Oh, Jake, is it?" Samantha laughed. "On first-name terms again, are we?" "Very funny," said Rebecca. "The man's an idiot. He must be to take the word of Olivia Cartwright over me." "Well, as from tomorrow, you won't be in the basement anymore. The books will all be sold," said Sam, "and you'll be sent up to one of the offices and back into the land of the living." "If only," said Rebecca. "But what are you going to do, Sam?" "Oh, don't worry about me," said Sam. "I've got an interview tomorrow. This is fate, I tell you. I've been wanting to get out for ages anyway." "That's amazing, Sam," Rebecca replied. "Well, good luck. I don't think you'll have any problems, though. And if you get the job, put in a good word for me." "You bet," said Sam. "If I stay here much longer, I'm going to end up doing something stupid. I've had just as much of Olivia as I can take, and Jake's clearly under her spell. Anyway, I must go. It looks like things are happening in the foyer, and that old battle axe is watching everything I do." "You make me laugh," said Sam. "Well, good luck with today, and I'll speak to you tomorrow after the interview." "Thanks," said Rebecca. "It looks like everybody's getting ready for the event. I'll be glad to get out of it and have a weekend to myself." "It's ridiculous you're not invited," said Sam. "I wouldn't want to go even if I was. The last thing I need is to see Olivia Cartwright swanning around and looking fabulous in her diamonds and pearls." "Fabulous?" laughed Sam. "She's got nothing on you." You put every girl in that building to shame, Rebecca, and you're not even trying. But why do you care anyway? Rebecca thought about it. She wasn't sure if it was her pride or because she was stubborn, but fury rose up in her chest at the thought of Olivia fawning over Jake in front of everyone and everything, and him lapping it up like a puppy. "I don't care," she declared. "In fact, I couldn't care less." And at that they said their goodbyes, and Rebecca returned to collect the last batch of books before she went home. It was almost time to leave. She had made it up the long staircase. This was the last time she would have to make that journey. Her arms were tired, but she'd done a great job. Now all that was left was to get through reception in one piece, drop the books in the lobby for collection, and go back down to lock up. Everybody would be far too busy to notice her leave early. She leaned against the door, but to her dismay, when she turned round and faced the reception area, there was Jake Fairmore, dressed in his dinner suit, and standing next to him, Olivia Cartwright, looking as glamorous as it is possible for a woman to be. They stood together with an elderly gentleman who Rebecca assumed was Olivia's father. All around, staff were fussing and running backwards and forwards in preparation for what lay ahead. Old man Cartwright looked as thick as thieves with his daughter, and Jake looked on smiling, until he caught sight of Rebecca. Then his face dropped. "This is just marvellous," Rebecca said to herself, as if things couldn't get any worse. Why does he have to stare like that? She rolled her shoulders back and lifted her head high, refusing to be beaten. Each step she took was made with precision. All she had to do was make it to the edge of the foyer in one piece, and then she could escape and never have to be humiliated like this again. "Jake, are you listening?" a voice from behind her said. "I'm still capable of turning his head," she said to herself with a wry smile. But no sooner had she felt she had the upper hand than the ground slipped away from beneath her, and the shiny polished sole of her smartest stilettos slipped on the marble floor, and she fell unceremoniously down upon her knees, surrounded by the books she was supposed to be taking such good care of. Rebecca's head hung low, her long auburn hair covering her embarrassment. It was as if time had stood still and everything had become silent. A sharp stabbing ran from her knee up her thigh, and she did her best not to shout out. She must get up quickly. The last thing she wanted was to make a fool of herself in front of Olivia Cartwright and her father. "Just leave her to it," she heard Olivia say. But this time, Jake refused to do as he was told. He had been brought up to be a gentleman, and no gentleman watched a lady fall and did nothing. Then all at once, he was next to her. There was no need for Rebecca to open her eyes. His strong, heady scent embraced her, and she could feel his masculine energy permeating through the air to fill her senses. "Not now," she said to herself. But it was to be now, in front of everyone. His large hand cupped her pale elbow, and he spoke gently into her hair. "Are you okay?" Rebecca hadn't expected to feel like this. Suddenly she was weak and she was helpless, and the hand of Jake Fairmore was the only hand she was willing to accept. "I'm fine. Sorry about the books. I'll pick them up. I don't think there's any damage." "Forget about the books." In spite of everything Olivia Cartwright and her father expected him to be, he was still a man, and Rebecca was still his woman. He looked at the heap she had become, and he felt remorse for what he had said the night before. "Can you get up?" He placed his palm onto Rebecca's waist, and excitement rushed from deep in her belly into her chest. Not now. But it was too late. They had joined forces once more. Then, as quickly as the yearning passed over her, it left again, and she came to her senses. "Get back to them, please. I'm fine. I can get up on my own." But Jake was not convinced. "Don't be silly." "Jake, it's time to leave." Olivia's harsh voice sliced through the moment, but Jake refused to be discouraged. "I can't leave you here. You know I can't, Rebecca." His strong arms lifted her up to standing, and with one look from their boss, a chair was brought, and Rebecca was able to sit down. She looked up gingerly, and he stared straight back at her. Then all at once they were back by the side of the river, speaking of their dreams of what they were to be when they grew up. This was the boy she had laughed at for being so devoted to her. And this was the boy she had teased until finally he went away, never to return. A sharp pain brought tears to her eyes, and she said, "I'm sorry for teasing you all those years ago." She could see in his face an apology was no longer necessary, but there was something new in his eyes, a recognition of shared affection and a deep longing for something more. "That's okay," he smiled. "I always told you I'd be taller than you, didn't I? It looks like more than one thing I predicted came to pass." "And what does that mean?" Rebecca smiled. "Now that would be telling," said Jake. And as the first aider rushed in with his bandages, Jake stepped back, gave Rebecca a secret wink, and turned to face the music.